Irish homes kept holy water by the front door for centuries, and it had nothing to do with religion. It had everything to do with survival. Every time someone left the house, they touched it. Every time they came home, they touched it again. Not as a Sunday ritual, as daily protection against storms, illness, and anything the outside world might bring through the door. This was not superstition. This was a people who had endured enough hardship to understand that faith needed to be physical, tangible, built into the walls and doorways of everyday life, rather than saved for 1 hour on a Sunday morning. Holy water was used during sickness when medicine ran out, during storms when fear had nowhere else to go, during moments when the world felt like it was coming apart and something steady was needed immediately. There are Irish homes today where that font is still by the door, untouched by time, still doing exactly what it always did. Some traditions survive because they work, and the ones woven into ordinary daily life outlast everything that tries to replace them. If the quiet, powerful traditions of Irish faith and culture speak to you, follow this page right now because this is exactly the kind of story we tell every single day. If you have Irish ancestry, your family made a decision that changed everything. Think about that. At some point, someone in your family stood in Ireland and chose to leave, or had no choice at all. They left behind land, family, and everything familiar, getting on a ship with no guarantee of what was waiting for them. No certainty. Some never returned. Some never saw their families again. And the life you're living right now, it exists because of that one decision, that one moment. Because if they had stayed, you wouldn't be here. Which makes you wonder, what did they give up so you could have this life? Follow to understand the story behind your Irish roots. Some Irish families used to leave food out at night for something they couldn't see. Think about that. In Irish folklore, people believed in the presence of the good people, fairies who lived alongside the human world, and you didn't want to upset them. So in some homes, small offerings of food, milk, bread, or butter were left out overnight, not as a habit, as a sign of respect. Because the belief was simple, treat them well, and they might leave you alone, or even bring you luck. But ignore them? That was a risk some people wouldn't take. And what makes this so interesting is that even today, there are people who still quietly follow traditions like this. Which raises a question, would you leave something out, just in case? Follow for Irish traditions that still feel unbelievable. Most Irish families in the 1800s ate the same thing every single day, and it was not what anyone pictures when they think of a traditional Irish meal. Potatoes, morning, noon, and night. Not as a side dish, as the entire meal. For millions of Irish families, the potato was not a food choice, it was the only option. Cheap enough to afford, filling enough to survive on, and growable on even the smallest piece of land a poor family could access. Outside of that, there was oats, buttermilk, and whatever bread could be made from the most basic ingredients available. Meat was a luxury that most families rarely if ever saw on their table. Nothing was wasted, nothing was left over, because there was nothing extra to begin with. This was not poverty by modern standards. This was a population kept deliberately landless and economically suppressed to the point where an entire nation's survival depended on a single crop. Ireland didn't just survive the Dark Ages. Some believe it helped save Christianity. That sounds dramatic, but here's why people say it. After the fall of the Roman Empire, much of Europe fell into chaos. Books were lost, learning declined. But Ireland, it was different. Irish monks began copying manuscripts by hand, preserving religious texts, history, and knowledge that might have disappeared forever, day after day, year after year. And they didn't just keep it in Ireland. They traveled across Europe, rebuilding monasteries, teaching and spreading Christianity again. Some historians even argue that without these Irish missionaries, parts of Europe may have lost much of their religious and intellectual tradition. Now, is it completely true that Ireland saved Christianity? That depends on who you ask. But one thing is certain, Ireland played a much bigger role than most people realize, which raises a question. Why don't more people know this? Follow for Irish history that challenges what you think you know.